Iron Claw might mess around and cap its way to an Oscar. Iron Claw was a great movie inspired by a true story, but not based on one. Iron Claw was like watching a film version of a pro wrestler telling a story, where a lot of the details are going to be made up, sensationalized, and flat out omitted. I watched Iron Claw not once, but twice. That's $36 whole at the Cinepolis in Inglewood, and wrote down its 10 biggest inaccuracies. Spoilers ahead, watch out now. As good as this movie was, everything from timelines to championship belts did not pass the smell test. And even though Iron Claw is a grim tale of tragedy and death, there were multiple deaths that were left out. Just looking at Kerry Von Erich will tell you everything you need to know about this movie. Great performance, questionable casting. In fact, when I first saw the trailer, I thought Zac Efron was playing Kerry Von Erich. Yes, Kevin Von Erich was shredded, but if Kevin was Rick Rude, Kerry was a white Bobby Lashley. Instead, Jeremy Allen White's body looked more like the white Bad News Allen. Kerry's physique wasn't the only thing off about Kerry Von Erich in this movie. In fact, the whole damn character was remixed. Yes, Kerry did beat Ric Flair for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship at the Parade of Champions. But the movie made it seem like Kerry immediately hopped on a bike and wrecked his motorcycle that night. Cap! In fact, they didn't even show Kerry crashing his bike into a police car, which is what really happened, and would have made for a great scene. I'll bet that cop would have been more shredded than Kerry too. Iron Claw leaves out Kerry dropping the NWA World title to Flair just 18 days after winning it. And when Kerry goes to WWF, it makes no mention of Kerry being fired from the promotion for forging prescription signatures. Hell, there was a raid at a WWF house show because of Kerry Von Erich. Now I need 6 more Von Erich movies, one from every different perspective, just so all these interesting stories can be told properly. Poor Kerry's would probably start in a jail cell, because Kerry actually had a lengthy arrest history, none of which was covered in the movie. In fact, many believe that Kerry's final arrest is what influenced him to take his own life. Speaking of which, when Kerry tragically shot himself in the chest, Kevin Von Erich discovered the dead body in the movie. But in reality, it was Fritz Von Erich who found the body. Fritz was quoted as saying it was the most peaceful Kerry Von Erich has ever looked. Rest in power. Fritz Von Erich also died of brain cancer, rest in power, but this death was not depicted in Iron Claw in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Director Sean Durkin's reasoning for not depicting every Von Erich death is actually pretty chilling. We'll get to that soon. But not only was Fritz not killed off, the end credits made no mention of the Von Erich patriarch's death. Also, for those counting score at home, Fritz Von Erich in real life portrayed a Nazi character, but they didn't really dive into that in Iron Claw, and I blame Gen Z. Damn snowflakes making Sean Durkin alter history because what, you're afraid of a swastika? Kevin Von Erich also wrestled Ric Flair on Iron Claw, but not in 1986 like the movie states. In 1985, Kevin Von Erich's match against Ric Flair ended in Kevin getting disqualified for refusing to let go of the Iron Claw. Also, that match happened in Texas Stadium at the Parade of Champions, not in the Sportatorium. This movie also portrayed it like it was a shoot and Kevin lost control, but if you watch the actual match, it was clearly an angle. Finally, Flair versus Von Erich was competed for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, not the big gold belt. And by the way, I appreciate the commitment and even the charisma of the Ric Flair character, but that was one of the worst Ric Flair impressions I've ever seen, no lie.
Whoa! Now!
That whoa was criminal. It was more like whoa, like a petrified cat hanging out of a tree.
Whoa!
Jay Lethal would have done a way better job. And if he was cast as Ric Flair, I wouldn't have said shit on this app. The Harley Race character, on the other hand, mwah, chef's kiss. Harley faced Kevin Von Erich in a non-title match that never happened. Because according to Cage Match, Tony Khan's favorite website, every time Kevin Von Erich had a singles match against Harley Race, it was always competed for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. In Iron Claw, the match ends in a DQ victory for Kevin Von Erich, but the actual match they are referencing ended in a DQ win for Harley Race when David Von Erich hit the ring and attacked Harley. David Von Erich was one of the many tragedies of the Von Erich family, and even though this is reflected in the movie, it could have been far more tragic if it was fully accurate. David Von Erich lost an infant daughter to SIDS, but his wife and child were retconned from the movie. To this date, David Von Erich's death remains shrouded in controversy, and while many insist he died of gastrointestinal issues, other conspiracy theorists believe a drug overdose played a part in his death. In his autobiography, Ric Flair himself claimed Bruiser Brody removed the drugs out the room before the cops came. Because that's what day ones do. Hold it down, Brody. Bruiser Brody ain't no motherfucking snitch. So, did David die of a drug overdose or intestinal issues? Fuck it. This sounds like a job for Wikipedia. Acute enteritis it is. Rest in power. Even though Kevin Von Erich was the featured character of Iron Claw, his own family history was altered too. Iron Claw depicts Ross and Marshall being Kevin's first two children, but that's cap. Before Ross and Marshall, Kevin and Pam Atkinson gave birth to two daughters, Kristen and Jillian. And speaking of the Von Erich women, where the hell was Lacey Von Erich, the most underrated Von Erich? Like, not even an Easter egg? The biggest omission of Iron Claw was the absence of Chris Von Erich. Chris was the runt of the Von Erich family. Standing at 5'5", he was several inches taller than JD, but nowhere near as racist. But then again, who is? I mean, JD is short enough and racist enough to be a jockey for a Klans horse. Anyway, the absence of Chris Von Erich was such a controversy, director Sean Durkin had to go on an interview tour about it. On leaving out Chris Von Erich, Durkin said, quote, "It was one more tragedy the film couldn't really withstand," end quote. So for those keeping score at home, the Von Erich story is so tragic, Hollywood had to cut down the number of deaths from 6 to 4. God, all this talk about death is starting to get me down, no lie. God forbid we get some wholesome and happy Von Erich content. You know what? I think we can pull that off. Check this out.
Family and fun, wrestling together. Party don't stop, 'cause Von Erich's forever.
Now that's what I call a delicious Von Erich breakfast. Wouldn't you say, kids?
Yeah! I wouldn't expect anything less from the world's best mom.
Aw, thank you, Kerry.
I don't know how we all got so lucky to have such a beautiful and talented matriarch. Doris, without you, we'd all be jobbers.
Oh, Fritz, you're making me blush.
Okay now, you boys know the family rule. No leaving the table until you all tell one of your siblings you love them.
I'll go first. I love you, Kerry.
I love you, Mike.
I love you, Chris.
I love you, David.
I love you, Kevin. Ha, Scout. Of course I love you. We all do.
We love you,
good
Scout.
man,
Scout.
I hate the Von Erichs. Those dirty, stinking, rotten Von Erichs have messed with the wrong dirty birds. WCCW is our nest now, and we won't rest until we crush the Von Erichs like an unhatched egg.
Nobody talks about the Von Erich family like that. Boys, to the Astrovan.
To the Astrovan!
Family and fun, wrestling together. Party don't stop, 'cause Von Erich's forever.
Coming to the ring, Kerry, Kevin, and David, the Von Erichs. Your winners of the bout, the Von Erichs.
Yeah!
All right, we tried. Check out this video about CM Punk and WBD and subscribe. Have you seen Iron Claw yet? You should. What other omissions were omitted from this video? Tell me in the comments.